Imagine a day without Wi-Fi. Not slow internet, but no Wi-Fi at all. My phone won't connect at home, my laptop is useless in the cafe, my TV won't load videos. My smart devices are simply silent. The modern world is beginning to fall apart not because of war or catastrophe, but because of the absence of one invisible technology. And yet, almost no one knows where it came from. If you ask who invented Wi-Fi, some will name a large technology company. Others will say that it was simply the development of the internet, and still others will shrug their shoulders. But the truth is that Wi-Fi, there is no single creator. There is no single moment of invention, and there is no single simple story. Wi-Fi is a technology that wasn't invented, but assembled, from dozens of ideas, mistakes, experiments, and solutions. In laboratories, in universities, in military projects. And most of the people who make Wi-Fi work at all remain unknown. To understand who's really behind Wi-Fi, we need to move beyond the simple answer and break down the story step by step. Wi-Fi is not the internet, and it's not a separate device. Wi-Fi is the rules by which devices transmit data over the air. Simply put, it's the language your router, phone, and laptop use to communicate wirelessly with each other. And this language was not invented by one person. The story begins long before home routers, at a time when no one even thought about wireless internet for ordinary people. In the second half of the 20th century, the main problem was communications. Military and scientific communications. Airplanes, ships, radars, and command centers relied on radio signals. But radio was very fickle. It could be jammed, intercepted, or distorted. Therefore, engineers and scientists sought ways to make radio communication more reliable so that the signal would survive even in difficult conditions. They experimented with the idea of spreading the signal across several frequencies instead of transmitting it on a single frequency. This would make it less vulnerable to interference. At that point, no one said, "We're inventing Wi-Fi." People were simply solving specific problems. Years passed. Military technology began to migrate into the civilian sphere. Computers began to appear in universities, offices, and then in homes. And then a new question arose. Is it possible to connect computers together without wires? The answer was yes, it was possible. But at first, it didn't work well. The first wireless networks were slow, unstable, and expensive. Signals dropped, speeds were low, and the equipment was cumbersome. Many engineers believed that such networks could never replace cables. But the work continued. In different countries, in different laboratories, people were solving the same problem. How to transmit data over the air in a real room where there are walls, furniture, and interference. And here, an important point arises. In Australia, a team of engineers and scientists worked at the Government Scientific Organisation, CSIRO, including John O'Sullivan and his colleagues. Their goal was not to invent Wi-Fi, but to make the radio signal work properly in closed spaces, in rooms and buildings. They found a solution that allowed devices to better understand the signal, even when it bounces off walls and reaches the receiver via different paths. It was one of those invisible engineering victories without which Wi-Fi simply wouldn't work the way we know it. But even this was not enough. The problem was different. If each manufacturer made its own version of wireless communication, the devices simply wouldn't be able to work together. One laptop won't connect to another router. One brand won't see another. And then the next key step came along: standards. Engineers, scientists, and companies agreed on a set of common rules, resulting in a family of standards known as IEEE 802.11. Simply put, it was an agreement. This is exactly how a wireless network should work so that all devices understand each other. The first versions were slow, but they worked. And most importantly, they were universal. It became clear almost immediately that if wireless networking could be made as simple as a regular Ethernet cable, it could become widespread. And here comes another important player, an industrial organization that would later become known as Wi-Fi Alliance. She didn't invent the technology itself, but she did something equally important. She started checking devices from different companies and confirming, yes, they are compatible with each other. Yes, they really do work according to the standard. Wi-Fi appeared, short, convenient, and understandable for ordinary people. At that moment, technology ceased to be an engineering experiment. It became a product. Then everything happened very quickly. Speeds increased, equipment became cheaper. Wi-Fi appeared in homes, cafes, offices, and airports. And as often happens, the more important a technology became, the less visible it became. We've stopped thinking about how Wi-Fi works. We've simply come to expect it to be there all the time. This is why it is so difficult today to name one inventor. Because Wi-Fi isn't the story of a lone genius. It's the story of dozens of people solving their own small problems, unaware that they would ultimately form a technology without which the world can no longer exist. Wi-Fi wasn't invented overnight. It was built step by step. And perhaps this is his greatest achievement.